Okay, in this lesson we're going to look at formula. Some will involve rearranging, others won't. So we're going to follow the same 3 steps. So our first step is to write the formula, and our second step is to substitute in the values we know. That should get you a mark straight up. After that, we need to decide, can we just work it out, evaluate, or do we need to solve a resulting equation? All right, let's have a look at an example that contains each of these types. So we're given a formula, and it's probably important that you highlight the formula, where speed, s, equals d, distance, over time, a common formula. We're asked to find the speed of an object if it travels 200 meters, so that's a distance, I'd put a d on top there, in 25 seconds, so that's time, so put a t on top. So step 1, already done there, I've written the formula, s equals d over t. Now I'm going to substitute in the 2 values I know, d and t. In this case, you'll notice basically we can just evaluate because it says s equals and we just have a number. So we just type that into the calculator and we get 8. Don't forget your units because it's meters and seconds. It's a speed, so you might need to think about it, but meters per second. So be careful of that. Okay, in our second example, we're asked to find the time, and we're given that the sprinter completes 100 meters, d, and he runs at 10.8 meters per second, s. So put a d on top and an s on top. Write the formula. Sub in your d and s. And what you'll notice this time is you'll have an equation to solve. Now you might already be good at solving equations, so you can do it using your own method. However, what I notice is that the 10.8 and the t, we can times them together, but that won't help, or we can switch them, all right? So you can always switch the denominator with the answer. So I'm going to switch, and t will equal 100 over 10.8. Now, if you don't like that method, you can ask in class if you have a question about that, or just use your preferred method, as long as you get the answer right. Okay, now we type that in, and I'm going to round to 1 decimal place in this case. That will always be given to you in the question. So once again, I make sure I put my units on my answer. It's a time. It should match this guy, so it's in seconds. Okay, let's have a look at a harder example now. So we're given the volume of a sphere, so we highlight the formula, and we know that we want to find the radius when the volume is 120 cubic centimeters. So step 1, write the formula. Step 2, put in what you know. So you know V. That's all you know. We already have a mark. Okay, so again, I like to cheat a bit. This is 4/3 pi times r cubed. So instead of timesing by 4/3 pi, I'm going to divide 4/3 pi to the other side. And I'm going to have a big fraction on my calculator there, 120 over 4/3 pi. And again, if you have a preferred method and get it correct, stick with it. All right, so now I need to get rid of the cube. So I'm going to cube root. And, you could have that as a decimal on your calculator and cube root it. I like to keep it exact all the way through to the end. We'll then just type that in, and you can try that, and we should get about 3.0598, etc. So pause and check you can get that. We're going to round that to 1 decimal place, and I have 3.1 centimeters because it's a radius. Now in the HSC, there will be sometimes 1 mark for rounding. So if you write your full answer, even if it's totally wrong, but round that correctly, you will still get a mark. So that's why I've added that step where I've written the full answer and then rounded. Okay, example 3. Again, more complicated formula. You may be tempted to expand the brackets, and that's fine as well. But I'd like to show you maybe quicker methods because some of you are quite good with your algebra. All right, let's start with our steps. Write the formula. Sub in what you know. We know it's 40 degrees Celsius, so sub C is 40. Okay, so now I need to solve, and as I said, you might want to expand and solve. That's fine, but I know this fraction's pretty gross. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the coefficient here, the number out the front of the bracket. And I'm going to do that by dividing it to the other side. So I've got 40 divided by or over 5/9. Then I'm going to get rid of the minus 32. I'm going to add 32 to the other side. And again, you might do that first and then add it. Just don't round too early. I just like to leave it like that and add it. And now I'm going to type all that into my calculator. And it comes out quite nice, which is good, 104. So F would be 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, so we're working through those in class. Some of you will be very good at them. Some of you will need lots of help. Make sure you ask.